Hey, welcome back, guys. And today I'm gonna be redoing What If Naruto Had Magic Part 2. And I'm only doing this because I felt like it was a little rushed and it didn't make much sense to you guys. So I just want to remake it and do stuff with it that I haven't done in the original Part 2. And with that out of the way, let's begin this what if. Okay, so basically where we last left off, Naruto, Naruto basically went through the first section of the dungeon. As a door opened, he went through it and found a girl with white hair and blue eyes, kind of like, strapped on a pedestal or strapped on a cross. So without further ado, let's begin. So basically Naruto asked, "Who is she?" As Naruto's kind of confused. Wait a minute, could she be somebody that was trapped here, or ended up here like I was? And Naruto was thinking this as he was waiting for an answer. I was trapped here by somebody. As Naruto would basically, be a little skeptical, as he's kind of wary of the monsters and the monsters here, and think that one of the monsters somehow has a transformation magic and try to trick him. And not being a little skeptical, he basically says, "Well, you could figure that out on your own. Sorry, but I can't help you." Naruto says this as he's about to walk he's about to walk past her, and then she said, "Please help me. I was betrayed." And hearing this, Naruto then changed his mind and was staying there for at least a couple more seconds and said, "Explain." "Well, you see, I was hated by a lot of people in my village because I had some sort of strange power that nobody else possessed. With this power, I was able to kill things I was able to kill animals easily and trap people and objects and barriers." And Naruto was intrigued by this. She's able to trap monsters. I might be able to use her on my side. Naruto thought. Seems like I'm gonna be able to get out of here after all. And Naruto basically, subconsciously, since he's kind of forgotten lots of human emotions, he's like, want to save her, but he doesn't know that. So, and basically, Naruto just takes her off the pedestal, and she thanks him. He basically thanks him and smiles a little bit. Naruto then asked, "What's your name?" "I don't really have one. They never really thought of one for me." And basically, Naruto was looking at her. She was so hated that they didn't even come up with a name for her, huh? Well, let's see. And Naruto was thinking this, and he was coming up for a name. I've got it. Your name will be Suki. And Naruto says that name as basically she's confused. Wait, he came up with a name for me? and she was confused because nobody really shown her kindness before. And then Naruto said, yeah, I kind of came up with that. Because of your white hair. But, you have to stick with that since I don't have any other name for you. Sure, she said as she smiled. And then Naruto then continued his sentence. Now, we're gonna continue off this dungeon. You're gonna help me, aren't you? And basically, she said, yeah, you freed me from this prison. I've been here for so many years, I can't even count. And then Naruto was a little confused. Really, huh? Well, that doesn't matter now. Come along. But before Naruto could take one more step, arrows shot from behind both Suki and Naruto. With Naruto's, animal senses that he's caught from, eating the other animals, he's gained some of the animal's abilities for sensing stuff. And, he basically grabs Suki and pushes her out of the way along with himself. The arrows basically shoot the wall. And basically those arrows were magical arrows, so there were huge dents in the wall. Naruto then got up and dusted off his pants. And then he said, never mind that. Come along now. You don't want to be left behind. You don't want to get left behind here again, don't you? And basically, Naruto walks off to the other, the door that, is the other section of the dungeon. She smiles as she scurries off to where Naruto's at. So, we're gonna say that, 6 months pass. And Naruto and Suki have become pretty powerful. They're like a powerful team, as basically with Suki's able to trap monsters and do much more, as Naruto's able to kill them pretty easily. And now they fight some sort of powerful dragon, and to defeat this dragon, they have to defeat this dragon to hurry to the next section of the dungeon, as Naruto is basically running up running to the dragon and trying to find a weak point, as basically Naruto got a magic skill that from some sort of bird, or some sort of bird like fox animal, and is able to detect weaknesses and be able to detect weak points on animals, or any sort of enemy. And he's trying to find a weakness, but he can't seem to find one. I guess I'm just gonna have to obliterate it, as Naruto puts his finger up and uses one of his fire magic skills. Fire magic. Seven novas of destruction. As basically with Naruto's finger, he summons 7 powerful novas that's compressed. That's a compressed nova. He shoots it at the dragon. However, the dragon skin was powerful, so it tanked most of that fire magic. Then Naruto was circling around the dragon as he was finding another place to attack. Seems I have to find another way to attack. Its skin seems to seems to tank any magic. So it seems that I have to physically attack him somewhere. And Naruto then starts to attacking, but the dragon just flicks him away. As Suki is basically, trying to put a barrier on the dragon. As like the dragon is basically destroying it, it's like cracking it, and barrier can't hold for much longer. And Naruto basically sees some sort of sword, as it has like a design. It's red and black. He basically thinks this sword, it must be some sort of weapon that's able to kill a beast like this. As Naruto basically uses wind magic, as he's basically got a wind magic from another beast that allows him to use the wind to grab things, like kind of like Dominator's touch from Solo Leveling. He basically grabs the sword, and he's trying his hardest to pull the sword out with Dominator's touch, as he basically just use Dominator's touch on himself to forward himself to the sword, and he grabs the sword, trying to pull the sword out, and the barrier is about to break. As then Naruto roared as he pulled the sword out, and he felt immense magical energy from the sword. He felt invincible. His power has increased somewhat, as in a flash he sliced the monster's head off. Naruto, intrigued by the sword, he went to Suki went to Naruto and asked what that sword was, and Naruto replied, I found it in a pedestal. I pulled it out, and my speed and power increased enough to where I could kill a monster in one blow. Seems I'm gonna keep this sword, as basically the sword had a sheath, and Naruto pulled that sheath out when he sliced the monster, and he put the sheath back on, and eventually he found a way to put the sword somewhere on his back or his body. So now Suki explains to Naruto about magic and stuff like that. So Naruto already knows that chocolate, that this is not like jutsu or chocolate or anything. So then Suki later explains that she has Darth magic, and Darth magic needs blood. Darth magic needs blood to kind of activate like the power up the dark magic and increase its capabilities. You need blood, and she also explains that she's immortal, and because the dark magic gives her regenerative capabilities that allows her to regenerate wounds before a couple seconds maybe. So so puts his arm out, and she digs in and basically sucks on Naruto's blood. As Naruto then basically says, I hope you're not gonna make this some sort of habit like you always do. And Suki says, but Naruto, I need this too. I need this in order to make my dark magic stronger. Fine, just make sure you don't overdo it. As Suki just licks her lips and says, I know. And they continue on. So now basically they come across kind of like a final boss of the dungeon before the final part of a dungeon. At this point, they're already well equipped. Naruto kind of looks exactly how he's like in Naruto looks exactly like the person in the picture. If you don't know, it's Kaneki. The person that's in the picture is Kaneki. he has a hoodie. Naruto has like made some sort of sweater for himself, but he gives Suki a fur coat that he somewhat made a month ago after they met, or during or post time skip. So basically, they fight the final kind of boss of the dungeon, as basically it's like the strongest like beast that's gonna be in the dungeon. As they've they're kind of prepared for this, as they've got lots of like they got stronger. So Naruto pulled out his blade, as he decided to name it Boaku, which, if you don't know, is translates black, because the sword is black, to Japanese, which is Boaku. So basically, he unsheaths his blade Boaku, and he tries to slice the monster, as the monster is basically immune to any magical attacks, which the sword is also exerts magical attacks. So it basically nullifies all magical damage on its body. However, since it only nullifies magical attacks, like the sword still kind of like stabs the monster, just because it's very good quality sword. It manages to kind of barely pierce the beast's skin, as Naruto basically steps back a little bit, as he didn't he was surprised because it didn't do much damage as he expected it to. And he basically asks Suki to use the dark magic, as basically she develops some sort of new magic spell, which allows her to make Naruto a little stronger. Make Naruto faster and stronger. Basically, all out improves his capabilities. And Naruto blitzes, he uses his increased speed to basically try and spot some sort of weak point for the beast. And he attacks it with his fist. Knowing that the sword won't do much damage, he decides to actually put in the work. And he basically smashes the beast's back, as the skin basically begins to crack, as it's basically a shell. And the beast had kind of like two layers. It had the first layer was the shell, which was protecting the skin. So basically, once he shattered a part of the shell, which was the back, skin, not just our skin. It seems like I could use this. I can't really pierce this. I can't pierce it. I can't pierce the shell all the time. However, now that I've opened up a weakness, this should be relatively easy, as Naruto basically drives his fist into the monster's now weak spot that he created, as it basically, the monster then begins to bleed, as it basically, kind of shakes a little bit, as it was Naruto took the beast off guard, as he then decided to punch the weak point over and over and over again. So monster just whacked Naruto off. However, Naruto managed to do quite a bit of damage, a lot of damage, as basically Naruto said to Suki, this is relatively easy. I thought it'd be more difficult, as he basically runs to the monster. The monster, trying to attack as, wants to open his mouth, charging up some sort of magical attack as basically Naruto pieces stuff together. Wait a minute. If its skin nullifies the magical damage, then what will this magical attack do? As Naruto tries to tries to back away, he uses this time to protect Suki. Naruto, what are you doing? As the attack, the kind of anti-magic bomb hits Naruto with full force, as he's kind of weakened at this, as he can't use any magical attack. So this also means that Naruto's immortality runs on magic, as his blood basically fused with his blood basically kind of Naruto's basically immortal, and his immortality comes from magic, as as I said, magic, and the water that the Naruto drank at the beginning of the dungeon was the fountain of youth, which gave him immortality. And since that runs on magic, Naruto's not immortal at this point. And Naruto not really, trying to piece together what happened, as, tries to attack the beast, knowing that if he just got over it quickly, then he won't have to know the side effects of the anti-magic attack. He runs at the monster's weak side. The monster then basically uses its claws to just tear Naruto's right arm clean off. His limp right arm fell to the ground. As Naruto was in pain, he used this moment to take his sword out again, unsheath it, and just stab the monster right at the weak point. And the monster's in pain. It begins to fall on the ground. Naruto, being triumphant, he then falls on the ground as he's basically bleeding because of his because of his power, or the abilities he's got from the monsters, because the abilities he got from the monsters, like Zenkai boost and regeneration, it's not really magic. It's more like the monster's body, the monster's what the monster's body could do. So because of the regeneration he got from the monsters and not the fountain of youth, Naruto's wound begins to kind of close up, but only slowly, as the door opens, revealing some sort of light, as basically Suki sees this chance as she picks up Naruto, thinking about what happened, but hurries over to the light, trying to figure out what was there.